What's going on, everyone? So I had the Chinese folk myth of Pangu. So the period from the fall of the Han Dynasty to the unification of the Sui Dynasty was one of political tumult. This period is referred to as the Three Kingdoms and Six Dynasties era, each which saw a series of short-lived and unstable ruling structures rise and fall, each supplanted by the next, only to be ousted shortly themselves. Right, so we have the Han Dynasty, we have the Three Kingdoms, Six Dynasty, and we have the Sui Dynasty, and all of that is between 206 BCE and 618 CE, so about an 812-year period there. And this is the time in which Pangu creation myth was popularized. I might give you a more accurate date, at least a year and a location, but unlike many other former religions, there was no canonical holy scripture. It was recorded around that time, and we only have references to it. All mentions of it are secondhand. Now, the social structure of China at that time was a stratified one. And so you had a powerful clans, an elite made of powerful clans of land-holding gentry and aristocracy who wielded significant influence, often intermarrying and maintaining control over local economies and politics. Most of the population, the lay people, were peasants, their lives subject to the whims of the ruling elite and the constant threat of military conflict. Their economy, like virtually all at the time, was agrarian. Their primary food source was gleaned from the cultivation of rice in the south and wheat and millet, or millet, M-I-L-L-E-T, which is a cereal crop that looks like slightly more green and yellow wheat than wheat. But they grew that stuff and wheat in the north. Despite its political chaos, during this time, China saw notable technological advancements. There were innovations in metallurgy and ceramics, including the development of porcelain, a technological feat that would later define Chinese artistry and commerce. Naval technology also advanced with the development of sophisticated warships and the introduction and the use of the compass for maritime navigation, though not yet for long-distance voyages. I think they needed the astrolabe to do long-distance voyages. And this period also saw a refinement of block printing, which was like the precursor to the printing press. And it was, in addition to the society and technology, it was also a transformative period for Chinese religion. The dominance of Confucianism waned among the general populace as the state it served collapsed. Taoism, once a loose collection of philosophies and folk beliefs, became a formally organized religion, complete with deities and rituals. And also taking place around this time was a widespread adoption of Buddhism. So the Pangu myth, as an element of the cosmology, became incorporated into this broader religious landscape, most often within the Taoist legends. Before the universe existed, there was only a formless, chaotic void. This void eventually coalesced into a cosmic egg, which was a swirling mass that contained both the, they described it as a heavy, murky force of the yin and the light, clear force of the yang. And anyway, inside this cosmic egg, a primitive, hairy giant, although sometimes a hairy dwarf, and sometimes he has horns. And I'm not sure he is the correct pronoun, but calling it it just seems disrespectful, so I'll just keep calling it a him. But inside the cosmic egg, Pangu came into being. For 18,000 years, Pangu slept and grew within the confines of the egg, as the forces of yin and yang balanced around him. Suddenly, Pangu awakens and finds he is unable to move. Beginning to feel claustrophobic, he somehow takes a mighty swing with a giant axe. Although sometimes it's with his immense hands, just probably a knife hand, to cut through the egg, depending on the version. But somehow he shatters this cosmic egg, and with that, the two forces in the egg are separated. The light, airy yang floated towards and became the heavens and sky, while the heavy, dense yin sank downwards to form the earth. This act of separation brought order to the primordial chaos. Now, Pengu was not finished. Fearing that the heavens and earth would once again merge and return everything to a state of chaos, he decided to attempt to prevent this. So he stood between them, heaven and earth, placing his feet on the earth and his head against the sky. And for 18,000 years, another 18,000 years, dude continued this labor of pushing the two apart every day. So the sky would rise 10 feet and the earth would grow 10 feet thicker, and Pengu also grew 10 feet taller. It probably didn't originally say 10 feet, but that's just what I got. And with a constant effort, he ensured the separation of the two realms until they were finally fixed and stable. Completely exhausted from his immense task, Pengu finally laid down to die. And in a final act of creation, his body transformed into the entire universe. His breath became the winds and clouds, his voice became the thunder, and his left eye became the sun, while his right became the moon. His limbs and torso, the four cardinal directions, and the great mountains. His blood, the rivers, his veins, the roads, his flesh, the fields, and his hair and beard became the stars in the night sky. The parasites and fleas on his body were said to have become us, humanity. And so that is how this Chinese folk religion describes reality, isness, coming into isness from the body of its primordial creator. Thank you for your attention to this matter.